Hello.
Hello, good morning.
So I'm now at that point where, to remember what to talk about, I just place physical objects in front of me.
Oh, really?
No, but it certainly helps to walk up in the morning and be like, "Oh yeah, okay, right."
Right.
I
Unlock the keys to your memory palace.
yeah, it certainly helps. Um, no, that is a joke, but I do have at least two objects in front of me here that I wanted to talk about. Um, the first of which is this. It's a new Steam controller.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, this thing came in the mail, and uh, I feel like it's not often that the days of there. It used to be like every couple of years, you're like, oh, new controller, let's test it out, you know. And
Mhm.
that has not happened in a really long time. It feels like we kind of just slowed that down with
Well, I
the
mean,
dual
we
sense
hit we hit
and
the
Xbox.
wildest, shittiest batch
Hmm.
of controllers for a while, like the original Steam controller and then the Ouya.
And then the Luna and everything in between there. But all of this was happening alongside Xbox 360s. You know, that was fine. That did its job. PlayStation got to the point where we're like, yeah, we know what it is. You're all used to that. Your hands are molded around it. So those things are not changing too much. But the elites and the more like limited edition versions of these controllers were still like, they're adding rubber and metal and all these other elements to it, and you're like, okay, but does it feel good? How does it work after a year or two when the dust is on the rubber part and it's starting to peel,
Yeah.
you know?
So like that DualSense Pro, that thing,
Hmm.
I held it for a little bit and I could tell within like a couple minutes that the rubber on that would turn like grimy as shit.
So I've replaced it a couple times now. It's still my preferred controller, but I really hate that the rubber plastic lining at the back separates. And I'm gonna say that for every one of those like fancier versions of these controllers, whenever they add a rubber to plastic lining, it always starts to peel at some point, especially if you use it regularly. And the standard editions, which are just plastic the whole way through, you don't have that issue, you know. So
There is a different thing that happens with them. It happened more on the earlier versions. So the tiny little I don't know what to call it, like matte finish on these. That's actually little tiny PlayStation symbols. After a while on the first batch of PS5 controllers, you would actually wear that plastic down with your fucking hands,
hmm
and it would become completely smooth.
hmm
And in the so everybody, if you don't know this, people, when you see a new batch of controllers that have new colors, it is a revision of the manufacturing process. Like they are different. They are usually upgrades. And the white ones and the red ones and the purple ones and the green ones for Sony, that shit doesn't happen anymore. Like it retains more of its matte, like grippy, like textured finish for like way fucking longer.
So the other thing is, of course, the standardized rear panel finger buttons on these controllers is becoming more of a thing,
Mhm.
and I, like I said, I just don't like them because I feel like I would accidentally hit them at times. I like when they're optionally removable.
Mhm.
And so this controller has them on by default, and they're there, and they're not
So
removable.
does the Switch 2 Pro controller.
Hmm. So these rear panels. I guess they're starting to be here to stay. My hope is that they remain optional buttons that like can be deprogrammed or whatever the case is, because they're not in a
Or just
place.
just left blank,
Yeah, they're
essentially.
not in a place where I'd like them anyway. If I wanted to have functional toggles, if you like the modern day controller is a 14 button, like it's a bit of a nightmare, but we've gotten used to it. And what I would say is, if I had to get used to additional inputs, I would do what there's a Hori pad that has came out that has this, and I think to some degree the Switch as well. But like the inside of L1 and R1, having, if you want to reach a little
Yeah.
further over, I can do with a button over there. Not an important button.
Oh, that's funny. I can't deal with that at all.
Interesting. Okay, because of the length.
Because like when I hold the controller, The first knuckle, like the inside of my first knuckle, is at the edge of
Okay.
the bumper. Like my finger physically, I have to like pull my
Can't reach
palm
further
off the
over.
thing.
Okay. Yeah, I so fair enough then. That's not a universal thing. For me, it's like my fingers, but my fingertips are naturally resting on the edge of the inner edge
the
of
other
the
side,
R1
the
button.
interior.
Exactly, right? Like the buttons are here, my fingers are all the way near the middle. So like I could easily take a button here and here if I wanted to, but it wouldn't be I wouldn't want it to be an important button. It would have to be like a menu option screenshot, whatever,
Yeah.
you know.
I played Destiny 2 with Xbox Pro pad a while ago that had the rear bumper thing, back buttons,
claw buttons.
and those things are like nearly universally made for shooters. And it really it does like within like a 5-minute learning period dramatically improves your level of control, because jump and reload and maybe crouch / slide mean you no longer have to take your right thumb off aim.
Okay. Yeah.
And that makes just the biggest fucking difference in the world, because you get to now jump and slide and reload without having to lose.
I mean,
like,
we've spent
control of where you're looking.
We've spent a lifetime getting our dexterity in our pointer fingers and thumbs really accurate, whereas the rest of your fingers are just fucking mittens.
Oh, I use my middle finger all the time.
Sure, but this would take some getting used to. But I have yet to play a game where it works for me. That being said,
I look at the Steam controller and I see a deadlock controller is what I see.
So that's the thing, right? So to get to the features on it, the touchpads, which are everything on the face of the controller, is essentially just they took it off of the Steam Deck, put it onto a controller, and you've got the 2 thumb pads here. And the smart trackpads are wonderful. These are the best way to mouse in a game
without a mouse,
definitely.
They're fantastic. They're stellar.
Better than a trackball, better than any kind of analog stick, better than the PS5 touchpad, any of that stuff. This is fantastic, and it has all these little points of tactile feedback that like it gives a little slight rumble every time you move over a little and click with it, and that just works wonders for making you feel accurate to where you're sliding your thumb. Having 2 of them, great. You don't even need the second one. You really only need one. The other one is just I guess kind of there if you end up with a twin stick game where you want to use both thumbs. But I haven't seen anything that needs it. That's really good. The other thing that's really good, in fact, the best feature about this is, I have it wired and plugged in right now, but what it's actually wired into is a wireless dongle. And this wireless dongle is a charge.
Great.
So this sits wherever you want it to.
Wherever you happen to plug it,
you just click it on, and then it charges, and it's good. Or you take it off, and the puck is sitting there. And
how's the range / level of interference on it?
Well, I haven't tested that in the sense that I've been in my room and it's in the studio just working fine. So
okay, because the reason I say interference is because I've had dongles that just like didn't want to be near other electronics, which is like a very self-defeating fucking scenario. And that's why I have a Bluetooth. Can I actually? Where'd it go? I have a Bluetooth. Like my Bluetooth thing is actually attached to a USB cable. Right here.
Okay.
On the desk.
Sure.
It's like so that it is 1 foot away from the controller, so specifically to avoid interference.
Yeah. Haven't noticed anything so far, but I guess with more testing that'll become clear. What's nice is that the puck itself is where you plug your wire in. So this controller,
Xbox, the Pro controller did something like that.
Yeah, so basically that means that until it asks you to plug a USB directly into the controller to update the firmware on it, but after that this never gets wired into, which means you don't have to risk any weird port bullshit. Exactly. I had, I had controllers in the past where it's like, yeah, the wire going in on a weird angle at one point, or it potentially falling once, meant that the inside receiving part bent, and then now that controller is just fucked on the wires. So this is really nice. The puck is a great addition. Very, very smart. The D-pad and buttons they're not my favorite, but they're fine. Like the Steam Deck's ones are fine. They feel
Is it just a Steam Deck, just without the screen?
more or less, exactly. Steam Deck without the screen is the feel of it. The buttons, again, it's that feeling of like they don't feel like cheap. They just feel more plasticky than the your PlayStation buttons would, And
Because
I prefer things that are a
really
little
like
more
the way
matte.
the Steam Deck feels, aside from the fact that it weighs like 2 pounds.
Yes. Yeah,
Like, it's
this
fucking huge.
yeah, this being a light Steam Deck without a screen on it is exactly that's great.
Yeah.
And yeah, standardized thumbsticks as well. No real complaints. I do like something about the PS5 controllers, specifically the Elite ones, was that I liked is that you can set the trigger threshold to have a cutoff point of like really, really shallow, medium deep, or like full gun trigger, and you can't do that here, so it's just kind of a large soft thing. And I like being able to set L2 and R2 to like instant tap as opposed to like full press analog, so that's missing from this ultimately. The biggest flaw and complaint I have with it, and probably the reason why I would not use this for fighting games. I would use this for anything long form. You could play like an Elden Ring with this or something or so, but just is that the D-pad and the buttons are really, really high, and they're like slightly uncomfortably high, which is exactly what it's like when you're holding a Steam Deck as well. I find that they're too high up. I much prefer when the D-pad and buttons are more centered in the mass structure. If you look at it, like they're making room for the touchpad, so they shove everything up into the first third of the real estate on the face of the controller. And most of the controllers we've gotten used to, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, would have your D-pad and buttons at least in this like lower second half or second third, So that's the biggest weird part of it. If you are able to get used to that, it's ultimately fine. But if you're playing a thumbstick game as well, it's more or less fine because that's centered. But if you're going to be using the D-pad, you have to realize it's asking your thumb to reach way up on the pad, higher than I'd find comfortable. But everything else about it's pretty solid. Just anything that is a super high twitch reaction D-pad game might not be the best controller for that. Pretty good though. It'll have its use cases here and there. And like, again, these charging options and shit like that, I want to see that standardized on everything. I thought we pretty much were just like, okay, the controller's done, we're good with it, but like, no, this has some features I want to see backported onto stuff going on PlayStation and any other controllers we get from now on. I don't think Nintendo doesn't do like an Elite Pro controller. They just do their
No, they don't need to, because this thing's incredible.
They just do what they do.
This thing's stellar, and I have been massively bummed out that you can't use this on PC. It uses some kind of weird extra Bluetooth standard that causes it to freak out when you try and hook it up to PC. And while I was having that thought, I typed in to Google Nintendo Switch 2 controller on PC and found a Reddit thread of a community driver that allows it to work.
I was about to say, like, I'm sure somebody's out there.
Yeah, but it was from a couple months ago. It was actually like fairly recent as far as things go.
Okay. Yeah, and of course the biggest thing right now is that you can't get one of those fucking Steam controllers. Like, they're just hard to get. But
yeah, I've been waiting on it since the first day they went for sale, and I have heard no news.
It's not going to replace your current preferences, I'd say, but it's not an inferior like option, And if you do have, and like what I will say is, yeah, if you do have games where you were waiting to use games where a mouse is facilitating it or helpful, and you're waiting to use it on your couch. This is going to solve that problem. Like FF14 with this game, with this controller, probably a fucking dream.
Yeah,
Probably.
MMOs and non-native controller shooters. Like I look at 14, I look at any MMO, I look at Guild Wars, I look at Deadlock. Like that thing looks like a made for Deadlock custom controller. Because Deadlock's biggest problem on controller isn't movement or even using like your abilities, it's aiming and navigating the menu super fucking fast.
Exactly. So in 14's case, I can easily just see it's like you have a controller in your hand to play the video game, and the moment an MMO menu needs to happen, you just use the mouse thumbstick, and then you're good. You know, that feels like an easy, ideal use case for it. Especially now with fucking looking at Samurai and all these different triggers, which I'm gonna go back and look at the layout you suggested in FF14 for Samurai and see if that's truly what my heart desires.
I had such a great experience after that episode went up. I got to see something I haven't seen from the FF14 playing community in so long, because I've been streaming it for ages, right? Mm-hmm. And my setup for my guys is my setup, and I put out guides on like, here's some ideas on how to build it. But because I showed people in your audience how I build my things, and I recommended to do a certain way, I got to have a universal MMO experience, which is every single person who saw the way I set up my bars went, yo, the way Pat makes his bars is fucking gross. Why would he put, oh, that's not how I do it. And then they all start to explain their bars to each other, and all of them go, oh, why? Why would you do it like that?
And everyone's supposed to have a disgusted response to everyone else's controls.
Like sitting down at somebody else's MMO like interface is supposed to be repugnant. Just like there are people out there that have their job bar dead center of the screen, so that when they're looking dead center, their pips and like for Samurai be their stickers dead center of the fucking screen, offset to the right, because well I gotta know when it's up. I gotta know the instant it's up. And I'm like, that's the ugliest shit in the world. I would rather not play the fucking game if you put a goddamn interface film in the middle.
And listen, in any single game where there's mastery involved, I can guarantee you there's people who are like, take the entire user interface off and just give me numbers in the corner. You know, I'm sure there's those people, right? There's the people who want the old fucking World War II plane interface with the levers and numbers, and just, I don't want anything smooth here. I need my training to guide me through this. But when it comes to, I guess, the idea of a 3-part combo sequence having different endings and cash out points, I can logically think of ways to arrange that on the board that are more like
more optimal to the way I think.
Exactly. Yeah, I can do that, you know. And then especially,
and you also get the thing of like, basically what happens is at 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, you change your bars again, because you unlock, you know, a new wrinkle, and you go, fuck, I don't have a good place to put this fucking thing. Shit, I got to redo the whole thing.
So that's what sucks, is not knowing how frequent the weird other stuff is going to get used, because that's where you actually have to go, well, is it a big deal if this is really out of the way if I'm not ever going to really use it? And it's like, well, you might use it sometimes, you know. And then you know too as well that whatever you commit to, even if it's like, okay, we're doing a thing where this is going to matter for this dungeon or whatever, your brain is going to permanently lock that in place, you know.
There are some things that I could fix that would be better, and I can't, because I had them in that spot for like 10 years.
Yeah, I could
like it's too late now for me.
I could see myself like forever wanting a triangle button to be my healing option, or whatever, my up
Yeah.
pad thing, or whatever.
Like
But
the one that it reminds me a lot of when Leffen and those guys were posting their 2xko like controller layouts, and they're like, put dash on X or whatever the fuck it was, and I was like, I have already played 100 matches with a very standard control scheme. I can't even complete a round by switching it over. It's too late.
Yeah, I've already, so I my both Tokon and Avatar, my button layouts have been affected by my 2xko layout, right? Where dash and parry end up on the controller there have then informed where I want dash to be on those games. R2 and dash are now synonymous with for me.
For me it's L1 and dash. L1 is always dash now.
Okay, yeah. So it's just becoming somewhat standardized. Not to mention too, when a lot of these games have like a 3 attack button layout and then like an optional 4th one at the below. So anyway, that's all kind of getting standardized. But yeah, this is a good controller.